The Justice Department says its investigation into Cesar Sayoc is ongoing. FBI Director Christopher Wray briefed the media on Friday, and the DOJ announced 5 charges against Sayoc. CBS News Justice correspondent Jeff Pegues has more.
Since the first bomb was discovered Monday at the home of billionaire and Democratic donor George Soros, at least 13 packages containing bombs would be mailed. All of those turned out to be strikingly similar. They were sent in a manila envelope, several with 6 America Forever stamps. With a return address of Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, her name was misspelled. The investigation immediately kicked into high gear. The bombs, which the FBI referred to as improvised explosive devices, were sent to the FBI's bomb laboratory in Quantico, Virginia. There, within hours on Thursday, investigators found a solitary fingerprint from one of 2 packages addressed to Congresswoman Maxine Waters. Then they lifted DNA samples from 2 IEDs. FBI Director Christopher Wray.
And once I knew that they had a print, I was pretty confident that we'd be able to find the right person.
The FBI matched the fingerprint and DNA to Cesar Sayoc, and last night alerted law enforcement in Florida. Investigators used video surveillance near a South Florida postal facility to identify Sayoc. An electronic device was then used to ping and track his cell phone, leading to his location. This morning, they moved in. It took little over a day from the first fingerprint being detected to Sayoc's arrest. The FBI said today the bombs, none of which exploded, were not hoaxes. They all contained explosive material that could have ignited if exposed to heat or pressure. Investigators still don't know whether all the bombs that were mailed have been found.
There may be other packages in transit now and other packages on the way. So we need the help of everyone out there, every citizen, everyone in law enforcement, everyone we've got.
The Postal Service will be searching its system throughout the weekend. Meanwhile, Sayoc will make his first court appearance on Monday in South Florida. If he's convicted on all 5 of the charges that he's facing, he could get up to 48 years behind bars. Jeff Pegues, CBS News, Washington.
Joining me on set to discuss the latest is Mike O'Neill. He is the former commanding officer for the NYPD counterterrorism unit. Mike, so great to have you here. Walk us through how law enforcement was able to locate and apprehend Sayoc, and where is he now?
Yeah, I think as the events started to unfold, you had, which was helpful to law enforcement, scary for the public, but a lot of packages and a lot of unexploded packages, which would contain, from an investigative standpoint, a lot of probably trace evidence, latent prints. Hopefully, we would assume that maybe someone made a mistake making that many devices, and that is what happened. They came across a latent print which identified this individual. And
he was already in the system because he had a record? Is that how they were able to locate him?
From what I could tell, it's about 10 arrests. It ranges from petty theft to assault, threats on public officials. He actually threatened to bomb a utility down in Florida as well in the past.
So do you think that the, investigators kind of had their eye on him for a while before the arrest?
If I had to make an assumption here, I would assume this individual, and I think I'm pretty right about this, was under surveillance for a period of time. It's a common investigative technique. We want to do like a lifestyle to see if there's other areas we don't know about. But I would also not be surprised with the uncovering of the 2 packages today that some superiors in the law enforcement agencies might have thought that it might be time to make an apprehension because the public was getting scared. Now we see more devices coming out over a period of time. Even Christopher Wray said there was more today, but it puts confidence back in the public when we make an arrest.
I'm glad you mentioned the FBI Director Christopher Wray mentioning the possibility that there could still be some more of these mail bombs out there. He spoke today. I want to play a little bit of what he said.
Today's arrest doesn't mean we're all out of the woods. There may be other packages in transit now, so we need the help of everyone out there, every citizen, everyone in law enforcement, everyone we've got to help with this investigation in the days to come.
So, Mike, it appears we're not out of the woods yet. There may be more of these mail bombs in transit. How much longer, how many more days can we expect to be worried about them?
Yes, I think 5 of the 13 they felt went through that facility in South Florida. I think some of the others have reached their destination, but I think he's just not sure, and I think he's doing the right thing. Because, you also, when I started hearing the term hoax a lot, being played, And I never said that when I was being interviewed by anything. And he repeated that himself, Christopher Wray. These devices were dangerous.
Right. And people need to continue to be on alert.
Right, exactly. So we want people to still be on alert if they see this package or something like to alert us. But I'm hoping it's nearing the end, the packages.
Let's talk a moment about the suspect's van, SAYOC'S van.
Sure.
We saw images of it. It was covered with political propaganda.
Yes.
There is one report out there, not confirmed, that perhaps he was actually living in the van. We can see there FBI is covering it with a tarp, presumably to take it in for evidence.
Yeah.
What does everything that you've now seen about this individual tell you about the suspect?
Yeah, I mean, there's political propaganda, people supporting their client, they're supporting left, right, whatever it might be, but some of these images are very disturbing, particularly the ones that I looked at with the crosshairs on the political figures. That's, to me, especially in the law enforcement profession, I would say, well, are you trying to incite violence against them? Or should I think it deserves a conversation at the very least. If I saw something like that, say, what's the intention of this? You have a right to put these up there, but
so do you think this van sitting around, you know, Plantation, Florida, with all of that imagery on it, some of it quite violent, as you mentioned, do you think concerned local citizens had probably flagged him to police long ago? I'm not sure,
because the political discourse, I think we'd all agree, has been at a very high level for a period of time now. And some people, just normal, average Americans, I would say, would chalk it up as...
So would you say we should not, though, dismiss this sort of thing when we see it?
I think
it should...
Yeah.
It's sort of beyond the pale?
I think you have to take everything in context. If you see an aberrant behavior like that and you see kind of threatening images like that, sometimes it's worth a call to the police department. Let a professional make a decision about this where they can look at it. And when I say conversation, I'm not saying someone gets arrested. I'm not saying they're going to jail. But it's, hey, can I ask you about this? And say, what was the purpose of this image? So
the totality of what we know about Cesar Sayoc right now, he's 56 years old, a resident of South Florida, has a criminal record. You know, some of the images that he's posted online and on his van are disturbing and violent. But there are some other accounts we've heard that he is a recently registered Republican, that some of this political fervor is rather recent in his life. Does all of this tell you that perhaps he's mentally unstable? Yeah, I mean, I think we could make an assumption. I'm not a professional psychologist, but that this behavior in and of itself is not from a stable individual. How could that affect his prosecution, do you think? Well, I don't think, I think he's, what I would say is mentally unstable, but he understood his actions. There's a big difference. The mental incompetency law in a court is that someone literally doesn't know what they're doing. I don't think that's the case here. I think he knew exactly what he's doing. I think he articulated that early when he was talking to investigators, and then he asked for a lawyer, and that questioning stopped. Oh, what do we know about what he told investigators? What I'm hearing is that he said that I was putting these out, I wasn't intending to hurt people, and then he mentioned some things. He said, you know what, I think I need a lawyer. So I think he does. Yeah, he does need a lawyer, but it's good to get to the bottom of his motivation on a device construction and everything else. Sure, and so he claimed he did not mean to harm anyone. Yeah, and that's what I'm reading anyway, and what I'm seeing and hearing. And his apprehension, as far as we know, took place without incident. He didn't. Yeah, resist. That was without question. It was definitely without incident. Right. He didn't resist at all. Well, I am sure in the days ahead we will be learning much more about Cesar Sayoc. Mike O'Neill, former NYPD commanding officer, thank you so much for being with us.